Hello everybody, UB here, and it's been a while, so let's corpse some skeletons. Alright, so it's been a couple of weeks, sorry for my weird little hiatus, life happens and all that. I wish I could say that I was ready to get back on the horse and get back to doing regular content every week, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. Thank you for, hanging in there and all that good stuff. I will be back eventually. It's just a matter of getting my routine underneath me again, and the holidays on top of the Kraken on top of everything else just kind of exploded my schedule. So with all that being said, today we are going to look at how I corpsed the skeletons in The Kraken's Revenge. For those of you who don't know, The Kraken's Revenge has been my passion project for the past couple of months, at least. It's been open for a couple of weeks now, and it's been going so well. Everybody's really enjoying the puzzle. Full credit to our owner Jen for putting the puzzle together. It's an absolute hoot and a half. There have been some hiccups, and that's always to be expected with a new room, and we've been just trucking along, doing really great. With all that being said, what is corpsing a skeleton? Like, what does that mean? How is corpse a verb? For those of you who don't know, my origins are in the haunted attraction industry, so that would be like haunted houses and that sort of thing. And I really got to use my texture artist know-how on this project, because one of the first things that I learned about haunted attraction props and that sort of thing was this weird word, corpsing. And basically you take a plastic skeleton of whatever kind and you turn it from a skeleton into a corpse by adding flesh and that sort of thing to it. Obviously not real flesh. Here we are using cotton balls. And why cotton balls? Cotton balls actually have the same kind of natural fibers that you would find in musculature, so it makes a lot of sense to base your design off of something that has those natural fibers already, such as cotton. But the true process here isn't very complicated. All you have to do is basically do a paper mache with cotton balls instead of paper. So I was using a paintbrush to really try to saturate the cotton balls with the glue. Basically just doing little layers, because it's cotton, it's going to absorb the glue. It's going to take a lot longer to dry than your average paper mache, and you want to do it in littler layers in order to make sure that it actually dries properly on the lower layers. One thing I would have done differently with this project is I should have taken a sanding block and really roughed up all of the plastic on the actual skeletons before I got started, just so that everything stuck better. And that was a mistake that I made throughout a lot of different projects inside of the Kraken. So it's kind of an overarching theme, but if you're gonna do a project like this for like a decoration at home, or if you're going to take a dollar store skeleton and make it look kind of creepy and gross, then that's what I would suggest, is to kind of buff the plastic a little bit before you dive right into doing the actual cotton mache, I guess you could say. With that being said, they turned out really well, and I was able to paint them with acrylic paints. I also used some spray paint because it gave really easy coverage throughout the entire skeleton. There's also 4 skeletons here, so painting them all by hand would have been a lot. So having a base coat of the spray paint really helped out with that. The colors that I chose to use here were largely blues, purples, and at the end I used a off-white, a yellowish white. Basically, the Kraken's Revenge is an underwater sunken ship, and I wanted to have a kind of monochrome palette throughout the entire room design, because when you're underwater, when you're in the dark, your eyes can only take in so much light because there isn't a whole lot of light in the environment. So you'll actually see more monochrome colors, and that's what you perceive, rather than seeing all of the colorfulness of the actual ship. So the rest of the room really is reflected in blues and greens and purples, and I wanted to kind of keep in that style when I put together these skeletons. You'll also notice that there are some fun things that I stuck into their flesh, such as the giant sea star on Mike the Pirate's face. I really enjoyed putting that together, and the air dry clay that I used ended up cracking and kind of not being the best, but it's still a very fun detail that is in the room, and I used extra layers of clear coat on that, and it's been holding up pretty well. There's also little shells and pieces of sea gunk and all of that in the actual skeletons, which is something that I roped into the rest of the room as well and really enjoyed. And then at the end, going back to my painting process, I used a dry brush off-white in order to kind of accentuate their features and the different textures going on in them, which is another thing that I very much pulled throughout the entire room, but was really important on the skeletons, because if you just have a lot of dark colors, your eyes aren't going to necessarily pick up that they are skeletons and that they have the full facial features and what have you. The other thing that I added into these skeletons was hair. And this was very much experimental for me, and I think I would do it very differently in the future. But basically, to give them beards and one of them actual hair, I took hair from an old wig that I used when I was a kid and has seen better days, and I took chunks of hair and just put it underneath the cotton as I was putting it onto their heads, and that way it kind of cemented in the hair, and it looks really fun, and we were able to put beads in some strands of hair, but other strands of hair have been pulling out, and that's just part of how it was designed. It's a design flaw, if you will, and I would definitely do it differently next time. But with all that being said, I really am very impressed with these, and I would do them again in a heartbeat. Obviously, I've got some notes for myself next time, but doing all 4 of them by myself was a huge undertaking, and I'm glad that they got done in time for the Kraken's Revenge. For any of you wondering what their names are, I named one of them Ford and one Vandrin. Jen named Mike, and one of them is so far unnamed, but I'm tempted to call him Jack. The first 2 are references to Critical Role, if anybody is into that out there, and then the last 2, Mike was just Jen's inspiration, and I'm thinking Jack for Jack Sparrow, but let me know in the comments if you can think of something a little more creative. Thank you so much for getting this far into the video. I'll give you 1,000 experience points just for that. Keep an eye out for more content on this channel. It will be coming, like I said. So, with all that being said, I will let you get back to your day. Don't forget to drink some water. Thank you so much. Subscribe, like, comment, all of those good things to help me out. And I will talk to you guys next week. Peace.